Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Saturday. I hope you guys have had a good week and that your weekend has started well as well. So kicking off tonight's live stream with Paris Nord. Thank you guys for requesting that over on Patreon, and I can see you guys in the live chat room already. Hello to you. I'll give you guys a quick shout out in there. We've got Billy and Nancy, Ninja Kitty, Bob, and Susan there as well. Corey, Howard is in the house, and Rose, Teresa, Billy, PN1123, Dwayne, Diamond Girl 1234. So yeah, hello, thank you for joining me. And Howard has made it back from the, well, I was going to say has made it back from the show. When was that? Was that last week? I think it was last week. I lose all concept and appreciation of time with kind of every day rolling into the next. But, and I'm saying that Howard is back in the USA, not because it's taken, like, what, 6 days to get there. It's just that, yeah, I think he was in London for a little bit, or a few days after the show last Sunday, but then he's back now. And I know that because he's in the live chat room. And I think he did say earlier on that he was back. I saw a Wings of Pegasus thing being tagged, and it was back in the USA. But anyway, yes, we're going to have quite a lot of pictures later on that I've been sent through from the show last Sunday. So yeah, picture corner is probably going to be a long one tonight. But anyway, we will get there when we get there. Now, let's get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. So a massive thank you to you guys. You know who you are. Their names go across the bottom of the screen through the live streams on a Tuesday and a Saturday. And they make everything that I do possible. So yeah, a huge thank you to these people. Now we will try and get the likes goal up on screen. I feel like I've forgotten to do something here, but it is going to be 310 as the target for tonight's likes goal. And if we do hit that target, we are going to be having Phil Jam number 324. So we are getting through them. So if you could hit that thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be very much appreciated. And yeah, we'll bust out the guitar and have a jam a little bit later on in the live stream if we do hit that target. Now, you wouldn't believe how long it took me to reset up the likeometer, because it's just a screen capture thing that I do on the screen so that we can see how many likes we have during the live stream. And last week the screen capture just stopped working, so then I had to set it all up all over again. And then when I set it up again, it didn't work again, so then I had to set it up for a third time. And hopefully now, fingers crossed, now this would be great if it doesn't actually work, and it has appeared. So we have the likeometer up on screen, which is great. So we are at 162 likes so far. So yeah, if you could leave a thumbs up, that would be great. And we'll see where we end up. Now, I was about to try and figure out how many likes we needed, but my brain said 145. But I think that might have been wrong. So maybe, oh no, 310, 145. Yeah, it might have been close. It might have been correct. Who knows? You can go back in time on the live stream and figure out whether I got that right or not. So yeah, aiming for 310 tonight. Fingers crossed. We'll see if we get there or not. Now, the only thing to get up on screen is the donations tab, because you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. So, for those people that can't resist donating, I think it's important that you know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below. But yeah, just watching is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, recently on the channel, a lot of that was almost like there's this well, you might actually, I did an analysis video actually on Cilla Black. She was kind of a singer, entertainer, presenter type thing, and she used to say a Laura and say like a Laura laughs, which means like a lot and a lot of laughs, but I kind of slipped into saying that for some reason. But yeah, I was going to say there have been a lot of views on the channel before, yeah, doing the Cilla black impression. But yeah, it seems like over the last kind of 2 or 3 days, it has gone a little bit crazy. And it's great that people are checking out the videos. We had the video, I think we've had a couple in a row. There was the video on Arnel Pineda, and then last night's video, which was on Rush and taking a look at their live performances. And it's reminded me, just when I say that, of at least one troll type comment that I can maybe jump into. Maybe we'll have a troll corner tonight, because I just remembered something from the comment section. But yes, it's great that a lot of people are checking it out. And the other things that have been watched a lot are the shorts videos, or at least kind of 1 or 2 of the shorts videos, which is good, because one of those, actually 2 of those, were just telling people about that AI scam and the band that isn't a band and the tour that isn't a tour. So yeah, it's great that a lot of people are seeing that, because I think it's important for people to know and to not buy into something that doesn't exist. And yeah, I think I even had a troll comment on that as well. So I have to try and make a mental note of these comments. Whenever I'm talking about it, something will just, flicker in my memory, a particular comment. And I have to try and remember them later on for Troll Corner, because we won't just jump straight into Troll Corner at the beginning of the live stream. I think we need to leave a little bit of time before getting into that. But yeah, I'm going to write a little reminder on this Word document that I've got, like this, that, and what was the other thing? Oh yeah, there was a comment on the Rush video where somebody was referring to me as, what was it? It was something about, these young kids or something, referring to me as that. So I do thank them for that compliment. So yeah, we'll get into Troll Corner later on. I'll try and remember exactly what's going on. Right now we have at the bottom of the live chat room the vote for tonight's cover video. And I can see at the moment, Lay It On The Line has 62% of the vote. And the other song is You Know My Name. And that's my collaboration with Kent Johnson. So yeah, he played violin in that, and I played the guitar and did everything else. So whichever one of those you want to hear, make sure that you vote for them at the bottom of the live chat room. But it looks like Lay It On The Line has taken an early lead, but will it be an unassailable lead? We will see a little bit later on in the live stream. So yeah, it's great that the videos are getting out there a little bit more, and it tends to be a bit random as to, well, actually it's not too random all the time. Whenever I mention about particular things, such as my authentic vocal side project, that seems to put the brakes on lots of things. But recently, at least the last 2 videos, the subscribers and you subscribers have actually been told about the video that I've released. So at least people are now seeing it and therefore watching it, which is always good when people that subscribe to a channel actually get told that there is a new video on the channel, which you'd think would be automatic, but it doesn't always happen, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, we've had a couple of videos that have been watched quite a lot, and there's going to be a video tomorrow night which might be another one of those kinds of videos, because something's been released that I literally cannot believe the state of it that it's been released in. So you'll have to look out for that tomorrow night. That's going to be released at 8 p.m. as always, British summertime. And yeah, I won't say too much about it now, but it is absolutely 100% an official release, because when you listen to it, you won't believe that it's an official release, that somebody's listened to that and thought, yeah, that is fantastic. Let's release that on the official channel. So yeah, look out for that video tomorrow night. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when I listened to what it was. So yeah, with the actually interesting with the video on Arnel Pineda and using autotune and him saying that he swore to God that he doesn't use it, but then we can go straight to a performance where it is being used. So yeah, it might, I mean, there are plenty of potential reasons for that, but I mean, it is interesting how we have had some comments from sound guys and, you know, front of house engineers, and they've said that they apply autotune to singers' voices without them even knowing or giving an okay for that to happen. And it's interesting that these engineers, they don't see it as you know, potentially stepping on the toes of the artist who doesn't use autotune. So yeah, it's difficult because I think when you're talking about smaller gigs, then yeah, it might be something that you apply and not many people are going to potentially notice it too much, or maybe they will. But if there isn't kind of a huge crowd there, then yeah, it might be something that people might just assume that the band are using autotune. But when you get into the kind of larger shows, it would be interesting to see if there are any sound guys who are applying autotune to singers' voices, and the singers are wanting to sing live and unedited, but then, you know, the sound guys are saying, oh, well, I'm just going to put this on anyway because I don't care. But I do see that as an, I don't know, kind of overstepping the line artistically, because there are some artists who use autotune intentionally and artistically, and there are other singers, you know, bands and artists who don't use it because they don't want to use it. It's not their sound. It's not part of what makes them the artist that they are. So then when you take that artistic decision out of their hands and say, yeah, but I'm a sound guy, so I can do what I want, I'm applying autotune to your voice. Yeah, I don't know where we go from there, because if somebody has got that mindset and they're in charge of the sound, then it means that every single band that played at a venue with a particular sound guy are all going to be using autotune, regardless of what they want or how they want their sound to be live. So yeah, for me, it's absolutely a question of, I don't know, taking away that artist's freedom and their own personal artistic expression to sound how they want to. So yeah, it's a bit strange reading those kinds of comments, because you think that sound guys and you know, technicians would appreciate more the art of sound, because that's basically their job, is to get the sound to be a particular way, to suit a particular venue, to mix it as well as possible. But I think, yeah, it might be the case, it probably is the case, that there are some venues that have a sound guy in there who's not that bothered and just does what he always does. You know, if they've got, I don't know, a particular setup that might be, you know, it might need mixing a slightly different way, but then the sound guy says, well, I'm just going to put all I'm going to put all the levels to where I normally put them, regardless of what it sounds like. So yeah, and just put autotune and everything as well without telling anyone. So yeah, that's I'm not sure whether that would be the case when you're talking about large venues with, you know, bands and artists that are signed to major labels. Everything seems to be very, you know, certain, and it's always a tight ship that is run, where everything that is set up very intentionally. You're not going to have kind of rogue people going off and, you know, applying their own effects to, you know, Neil Sean's guitar, for example. You know, you're not going to have somebody suddenly putting you know, delay or extra delay on his feed, or start messing around with backing vocals or lead vocals. So yeah, it would be it would be interesting to see exactly what's going on there. But I mean, the great thing is that because of the contacts that I have and the people that I know, I was talking to this yesterday with Jeff Scott Soto, who is a fantastic vocalist, and you know, if anyone knows about performing live, it's him, and he's sung for Journey in the past, so it's kind of on topic as well. So yeah, it's great to kind of get his point of view as well, because, you know, he's met Arnell, and I said to Jeff that, yeah, I've never met him, but he seems like a really nice guy. So I don't think it's something that would be intentionally trying to throw people off the scent, and that I know that he doesn't use autotune all the time, and that's why in that video I gave an example of him performing fully live and unedited, not using autotune live, but then what you hear when it's then released on YouTube is then tuned, and that's the other problem, is that people hear the tuning and they assume that it must have been a live show that the sound's coming from that's unedited, but they don't realize it's then post-edited, and that's why it sounds, especially when it's been applied quite harshly, it then sounds like it was an auto-tune live kind of thing rather than a post-production thing. But yeah, it's important to point out that happens as well, that Arnel was absolutely singing live. And I mean, to my knowledge, he has absolutely sung live for the majority of his career. But the problem is when you make a statement that is covering everything, you say, I don't use it. So then if somebody shows that you're using it, it's like, well, yeah, I did say in my videos, it's a lot better to say, to my knowledge, it hasn't been applied to my voice. Because then if it has been applied, it's not something that he's doing, and it's something that he didn't have any knowledge of. So yeah, it's very difficult. I think you can only make that statement saying, I've never done a particular thing or never had a particular set up to my live sound, if you know absolutely that what you've done live has always been how you set up, and there's nothing that can get in the way of the audience then hearing your live sound, and anyone to put an effects unit in your effects chain that you wouldn't have noticed. And I think also this was a comment somebody said, you obviously don't know how gigs work because everything goes into a laptop, nowadays. And yeah, I did say to the person that I do know how gigs work, but I'm talking about knowing your setup. If my vocal was going into a laptop, I would check out what's going on that particular laptop. And I know that, more broadly talking, and we're not just talking about having Antares, for example, kind of live auto-tune going through a laptop. We're talking about the whole show can be going into a laptop, or as everyone will know, into effectively like the mixing desk, and the sound guys that might have laptops running off it. And it's all, especially when you get to huge venues, you've got the time coding of the lights and everything that's going on. You might have backing tracks that are also in there, and more often than not, you will have multiple laptops that are running different versions of a show. And I know for a fact that happens live now, where you've got two shows. I know that people who think that bands just set up and play live, there are some bands that still do that, but I'd say the majority of live performances now in 2026, you will have some kind of backing track and time coding going on, so that the show has the lights and the pyrotechnics, whatever it might be, they're all set to go off at a particular time according to that time code, or the time coding system that's been set up to go in time with the backing tracks. It will just trigger different things that happen at exactly the right time, rather than the lighting guy trying to bring the lights up and bring the lights down and try and catch all of the moments that within the show have those crescendos, for example, and get all the lights to be turned up to 11 when those times happen. So anyway, going back to the point that I know for a fact that there are shows, very well-known artists and bands, where they have two versions of the show running at the same time, simultaneously, coming from different laptops. So what happens is that you'll have the show coming through one laptop, and that's everything's in there. So it's basically a backing track with a lead vocal, all the instrumentation, and that can be mixed how you want. So say, for example, you want it to sound a bit more live, you take out the drums, but then everything else is basically the studio recording, and it's now the drummer playing along to a click, and you now get a live sound, even though everything else isn't actually happening live. And then you'll get another version of that where you have the lead vocal not in there, and then the singer's going to be providing that lead vocal. But then say, for example, the singer suddenly says, actually, I don't want to sing that song live tonight, even though we are doing that song. Then they just flip to the other version of the show that's being run, and now the lead vocal is on there. And it can be even more complicated than that. You could have a setup where, with the laptop where the lead vocal was going to be live, for that part of the show, or for all of the show, they could have parts of the song where the high note on a particular song or a series of songs are still in there. So it means that you've got a blank track for the lead vocal apart from the high note where the singer will pretend to sing and then, come in because that's on that version of the show that is running. So yeah, it's there's a lot going on. So for people that say, oh yeah, and everything goes into a laptop, you don't know what you're talking about. I know how shows are running nowadays, and that you can't get away from the laptops. You might even see, especially with bands that are, I'd say, more live orientated, they might still be playing to a click, and the drummer might even have the laptop, just like a MacBook Pro, just next to the drums, because it's all running through that, and then they've got the click going into their ears, so that all of the elements that they want to have from the studio recording that they don't have the musicians to play, they can still have those, keep it all in time, and then you'll get that full sound out at the front of house. The crowd are going to be hearing all of this going off, and you're going to get a sound that is a lot more similar to the studio release than if it were just, say, for example, a 3-piece with one guitar, a bass and drums. Because nowadays you're never going to get, unless it's more of a stripped back folk type thing, you're never going to get that on a studio album, that they're releasing something where it's just those 3 instruments. You're gonna have loads of other elements in there, but that's what happens with studio releases. It's an opportunity for the artists to let their creative mind go wild and just do what they want to do, and then it's down to them how they're going to bring that to the live stage, to the live shows. So anyway, talking about live shows, and that's what was great about that Rush video that we looked at last night, was that's just a live band, which is great. And I think, actually, when I said in that video that they are on tour in 2027, I'm thinking about the, I think, March dates in the UK. So that's when I say, they're going to be touring in 2027, that's what I mean, like in London, in the UK, because I know that some people said, no, they're going to be touring in 2026. But I always very much approach things from the UK point of view. So for people that are maybe watching my videos here, and I say, if I did say, they're going to be touring in 2026, because I'm doing these videos in the UK, some people might start thinking, when are the dates? When are they going to be in London in 2026? So 2027 just makes it a lot more straightforward for people that might be interested, or looking for tickets for 2027 here in the UK, in London. But anyway, yes, right now we are going to be jumping into the PayPal window, because we had a few donations in there, so thank you guys for these. I am just going to get rid of the likeometer just to make sure that everything is okay with... we have had a super chat donation, but I'll get into that in a second, because Paul donated $5 over on PayPal, so thank you for that. And the message was, please spike the likes, all y'all, and have fun tonight. Catch up crew for me. Peace, love, and rock. So thank you for that. And if you're watching this in the future on catch up, then you can still hit the thumbs up. It really does help this channel to grow and for the videos to get out there a little bit more. But thank you for that, Paul. And Mish Marie has donated £2 as well, so thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, it's really fascinating how Geddy Lee's voice is immune from autotune and pitch correction. How can more singers implement his techniques to beat the industry standard? Also, you and Taj delivered a killer performance last week, and your purple shirt was stunning. So thank you for that. And it's quite a cool shirt, just to talk about that, because it looks like it's just a black shirt, but then when the light catches at a particular angle, then you can see the purple stuff on it, and it kind of matches the wings of Pegasus purple that we have going on here. And like like I said before, the purple things in the background, which, yeah, to me on the screen they look blue, but then in real life they are, I don't know how they look blue on the screen, but yeah, they look purple in real life. So anyway, yes, great to play with Taj, of course, and thank you for the kind words. Now, in terms of being immune from auto-tune and pitch correction, this is something that, I mean, first of all, singers are going to use it themselves if they want to. Second of all, they might be post-pitch corrected, or sometimes it does just sound like somebody's applied auto-tune to the channel and not really dialed it in at all, because it can be quite abrupt and offensive with how quickly it's tuning the vocal. So in terms of Geddy Lee's vocal and why his vocal would be difficult to tune, is because he covers so much pitch between notes and slides so much. So when you hit a vocal line and you slide and you're going up, and then you might hit a note and come down and hit another note and come up and hit another note and go down, all of that pitch that you're covering, it's constantly moving. Rather than with some singers, they'll hit a note and they'll hold a note, they'll come down and then hold another note and then go up again and hold a note. When you're holding a note for a particular length of time, it means that now there's something that the processor can grab and it can move it to where it's been programmed to move it to, which is A440. So when you've got those held notes, that's easier to do. But when you've got a voice like Geddy Lee's, where he's sliding up and down all the time and very much kind of throwing caution to the wind with his vocal, trying to now get any part that's going to be a long held note is going to be difficult, because when he does hold a note, then he'll apply vibrato as well. So it means that if you were going to be trying to edit that with Melodyne, for example, you'd probably drag the whole thing up or down. But I'd say for the most part, he doesn't need to be moved around, because that's the personality of his voice, and that's why it just sounds so unique. And I did say in the video yesterday that some people might not be used to that, and they might think, oh well, no, he wasn't close to the note, or I couldn't hear which note he was hitting, or he's moving around too much. But that's just what singing is. That's the art of being an artist, but a band, and being a lead vocalist, is that you get to decide how you sound, unless it's then going to be edited after the fact without your permission. But hopefully, that's the great thing about that performance, is that it was unedited, that it had gone to TV without somebody getting involved and tuning it all of a sudden. So that was great to hear. And I don't think it's something that you can necessarily intentionally do. It's just the style of the vocalist, because there will be some singers who hit notes straighter and don't cover as much pitch, and it's just the stylizations that Geddy has, that means that it is it would be very difficult to tune. But thankfully it wasn't tuned, so we just get to appreciate it for what it was. So anyway, thank you for that. And we've had another donation, and this is for £10, so thank you for that. And this is Debbie, and there's no message. I'm just scrolling down to see if there's anything with that, but there isn't a message with that. So Deborah, £10 donation, thank you for that, over on PayPal. Now we've got in the super chat window Orlando in there, who's donated $2, so thank you for that, Orlando. And the message is, hit that like button, show your support with a thumbs up. So great advice there from Orlando, and thank you for that donation. And let me see if we can jump back into the stream settings to see where we are with the likeometer. Where is it? There it is. 262 likes so far, so we are closing in. That means we're looking for what, 48? That's what my brain says. 48 more likes, or maybe 47 more likes before the end of the live stream. If you could hit that thumbs up, it would be very much appreciated. So now with the live streams, we have had a few people that have asked questions in the past, I mean, not just kind of random questions, but although that is always, sometimes the case, always sometimes, it is the case that we do get random questions, but we have had a specific question that has come through from Joe. Let me go through here, because the question was about if you're setting up a home recording studio, or what should you concentrate on, and maybe getting kind of the budget-minded amateur, say £1,500 to £2,000. Right, so what I will say is, when setting up your home studio, you've got to first of all make sure that you've got your computer. Now the problem is what kind of computer you go for, unless you get a second-hand, Mac Pro maybe, or Mac Studio. It depends, because that, if you haven't got a computer, that's going to be the bulk of your spending, is going to be getting something that can run everything absolutely fine, isn't going to struggle with software instruments, for example. If you are someone that uses a lot of software instruments that are basically, like, say for example you wanted some synth in a particular song, or you wanted a string section, and then you can use software instruments that then effectively are patched through to your USB keyboard, and then you play that, and then when you play the keyboard, that's where you then get the sound of the string section. Or, like I've said in the past, you can get a choir sound, so the sound of voices. And I've said many times that now vocals are starting to sound like software instruments that you're playing on a keyboard, because a keyboard is tuned to A440, standard pitch, equal temperament. So that's why, we're starting to get that sound from vocals in the mainstream music industry nowadays. But if you do have a computer, then you're going to be wanting to make sure that you've got your digital audio workstation. For me, that's going to be Logic Pro 10. And let me just check that it is, because sometimes they do an update and you never actually notice that it's now Logic Pro 11, for example. But I will try and have a look here. Well, technically it's Logic Pro 10, but some people call it Logic Pro X. But it's because it's, I used to have Logic Pro 8, so I've kind of been through them. So when it went to then Logic Pro 9, and then Logic Pro X, which is Logic Pro 10, depends kind of where you've come from. So I just see it as 10. But anyway, that's my digital audio workstation. And I mean, that's, I'd say, relatively inexpensive. You're going to be looking at a few £100s for that. But that's got software instruments that are already kind of baked into it. You don't have to worry about getting other things unless you want to get into sampling and buy different sounds that you might want. But anyway, so if you've got your computer and then you've got the software on your computer, now you need to find a way to get all of the stuff you want to make and the sounds you want to capture into your computer. And this is where you start looking at interfaces. So an interface is something that will take your signal that you're putting into it. Say, for example, a vocal. It'll take this vocal, go into the interface, and then it'll go into the computer, so then you can start recording things. So what I would say is make sure that you go for an interface that has enough inputs, or actually no more inputs than you're going to need. I know that some people do buy an interface and it's got inputs in there that they're never going to use. They might have 4 or 8 XLR ins, and they're never going to have 4 or 8 people singing at the same time. So I think it's as simple as you can keep it. That's what I would always suggest, to just have I've got the Audient ID4 or Audient ID4, depending on how you say it. that's a really simple interface, but it's still really cool because I can run my mic into that, and that's what I used when I was in the other room doing the live streams. And you can run your guitar through the front of it. It's just got, the jack input for the guitar, and yeah, it's got 2 outs for the monitor speakers, and yeah, you can even kind of balance between the output from your computer and then the input. So say for example you're playing over a backing track and you've got headphones on, you can then adjust the sound of the computer compared to your guitar, so you can kind of balance the levels, if you want to do that. Obviously the way that I was doing things, I couldn't apply that, but it still worked listening to it out of the laptop. But anyway, yeah, I mean that's a really simple interface, and in my experience, reliable. And the reason that I got that was because I had another interface that went a bit wrong, and that was the UX2, Line 6 UX2. And yeah, unfortunately the drivers for that weren't kept up to date, and then I started to get kind of a popping sound. So yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. So I got the Audient ID4, and yeah, that was great. And this is what I use for monitoring everything. So when I'm doing the live streams, I occasionally lean over here in order to just adjust the sound coming out of the speakers. So I've been listening to potentially Paris Nord in the beginning of this live stream, and then I just kind of tweak the volume so that I don't get an echo or anything, but at least I can hear the video being played, so I know when it's going to finish, so then I know when to bring myself back up on screen. So the other, what I'd say is the more heavy duty interface that I've got is the Scarlett, and that's Focusrite Scarlett, and yeah, that's the i8i, I think, something like that. But it's got 8 inputs in there, so it means that you can do a lot of stuff with that. And I think that basically covers everything that I would ever need to do. So yeah, I'd say probably, yeah, get your interface. Now in terms of your monitor speakers, I've got M Audio speakers, so those are the ones that I go for. And again, it's just looking into what size you want for this. It's all going to depend on your setup, and I would tend to keep things as simple as possible. And yeah, for my purposes, if you set up the speakers where they should be, and kind of have them equally distant from your ears on either side, and yeah, make sure that you haven't got them sitting on anything that's going to cause them to resonate, or at least if they're sitting on something that, say for example there's a particular frequency, you can get stands for speakers that go down to 3 very tiny points. It almost looks like they're sitting on the top of inverted I was going to say pyramids, but triangles, but I guess a pyramid is correct. So there's kind of minimal contact with the ground, so that all of the vibrations from the sound don't go through floorboards or whatever you might have. But anyway, yeah, you don't have to worry about things in too much detail. But yeah, get some speakers that don't have to. I would go for reference speakers, so make sure that you are looking for those, because if you're getting other speakers, it's like if you imagine your home, I was going to say hi-fi, your home hi-fi setup, if we're using 80s type language, when you're listening to a song in that will have its own EQ curve, meaning that it's colouring the sound in some way. It's not like a reference speaker which will just play back the sound and the EQ will just be like flat. There'll be some kind of not editing, but some kind of colour to the sound that it's adding. And in some hi-fis it even gives you the option, I say some hi-fis, back in the day you might have had one like this that would give you options that was like jazz, rock and roll, R&B, and it was giving a different sound to whatever you were playing. But that was just basically editing the EQ curve. But unless you're listening through reference speakers, then there's always potentially going to be some kind of a manipulation of the sound, which you don't want. If you're recording in a home studio, you want to hear the sound as it is, as close as you can get it, so you're not hearing it. Because, you know, on your home system, imagine that, you know, the bass is being boosted, and, you know, the mids are being kind of cut out with the EQ curve, and you listen to whatever you've recorded, and at home you think, oh wow, yeah, this sounds really cool, through your system, and then you go to have it mastered, where they'll be, you know, most likely mastering it in a sound treated room, and yeah, they've just got reference speakers that are going to absolutely be flat, and now you listen to it and you think, oh hang on, the bass I can't hear anymore, and the mids are nowhere. Where's all that gone? You know, because they were already cut in your system. So now it's like, well, we're going to have to try and now boost those to get those to the level. And yeah, mastering is now going to be an absolute nightmare. So you want to always start off with that, you know, as flat an EQ, it's not going to be a curve, the EQ is just going to be flat, you know, flat line, and reference speakers will do that. And obviously, depending on the room that you're in, you might get some resonant frequencies that pop up, and then, you know, that is now whether you want to treat your room or not. So yeah, there's kind of more complicated questions after that. So in terms of getting, yeah, a simple setup, get an interface, just think of, right, what do I want to do? Okay, I want to record vocals, I want to record guitar, and I'm not bothered about anything else. Then you can get a really simple interface like the Audient ID4. If you now want to start miking up, you know, you might want to mic up your guitar, or maybe you've got a couple of guitars you want to record, and, you know, they've both got different tones. Then you can start looking at something that's got more inputs, like, you know, the Scarlett interface that I was just talking about, which is how I do these fill jams at the end of the live streams. Is I'm running it through the Scarlett interface, the Focusrite Scarlett. That's what you want to kind of type in if you're searching for it. Another thing, just before I finished talking about interfaces and digital audio workstations, something that I would advise and something that I use is a program called Loopback. So Loopback is a piece of software that you use on your computer, but the job that it does is like running your leads, your wires that you would have in a studio, but doing it all in your computer. So the reason that I mention this is because when you record a vocal, for example, into the Scarlett interface, it's going to be mono. So it means that you're only going to get that signal coming through the left channel. So if you're listening to it through headphones, your vocal is only going to be on the left hand side. And yeah, that can be a bit of a pain and just a bit off-putting, or at least for me, I find it a bit off-putting when recording vocals and it only comes through one ear. I like to have the same signal coming through the right hand channel as well. I just double that up, but yet doing that, it is, you know, a bit of a pain if you're going to try and do it through your interface. But what you can do through Loopback is, I mean, you get little, well, I say you get little, you just click on where you want the lead to be. So say, for example, you've got the left output and the right output, and your vocal is only coming through that left channel. You can now drag that left channel and plug it into the right channel of your digital audio workstation, or whatever you know, I've got it set all over the place, meaning that when I'm doing my fill jam, for example, you hear my guitar, even though it's going through a mono, you know, input, you're hearing it stereo because I've copied that over. So yeah, that's something that is now getting into kind of troubleshooting. Like if you're not used to recording, or if you are used to recording, you just find it a bit annoying going through an interface that only gives you that mono signal. What is interesting is my Line 6 UX2 that automatically did this, i.e. it gave you the same signal in the right channel when you were recording. So if you had your headphones on and you were singing, you heard your voice in both of your ears rather than only hearing it in the left ear. So yeah, for me, I preferred kind of hearing it in both ears. So yeah, but that is called Loopback. And I guess yeah, if you are doing any kind of recording, it's just a useful thing. And if you're doing things like, yeah, even podcasts, and you are looking at something like with my analysis videos, when I'm looking at a video, I want that to be heard by the audience in stereo as it was originally and as it is originally on YouTube. So then whenever I'm mentioning about, oh, you can hear this in the left channel or you can hear that in the right channel, I want the audience to be able to hear that true representation of the sound. That's something that Loopback has allowed me to do, because I tell Loopback to record my computer audio while I'm recording my video. So it means that I can go in through the Audient ID4, which records the vocal, and then everyone hears whatever I'm looking at and whatever I'm watching. So yeah, it's good for that. And you know, like I said, that's exactly what I do for my live stream fill jams, so that you guys, now this is, it used to be the fact that the fill jam, a backing track, was going through the computer and then you heard it, but now we've got this latency problem, which isn't an interface issue, it's just an Apple update issue that just went everything, or made everything go wrong. So now, again, case in point, that I now run from my laptop the backing track into the Scarlett interface, because I've got, and this is the good thing about the inputs, they are XLR and jack, so it means that I can run the right and the left jack into my interface, so we're still getting stereo, and then I can still use the other input that I've got for my XLR, which is my mic that's effectively the guitar, the cab behind me that's mic'd up. So like I said, make sure that you've got enough inputs for things that you'll need, because in this particular case, for this workaround that I do, it means I need, yeah, at least 3 inputs in order to do the fill jams, but I've got 4, so I've got an extra one just in case. So yeah, anyway, yeah, complicated answers to that question, but I would say, yeah, I mean, £1,500 to £2,000, you might be able to get everything for that. But if you're looking at the computer, I mean, that would have to be a second-hand thing that you're getting, because yeah, the Mac Studio that I got, you straight off the bat, you're looking at what, £3,500, maybe £4,500. It's, yeah, certainly an investment, I would say. But because of what I do, it made sense for me to get something that's going to be able to handle everything that I do. And yeah, there's nothing worse than getting something like with my live streams, just having a computer that can load all of this stuff. And it's not like the only time that we get anything that is now not loading is because of the internet connection. It's not the computer saying, oh, I can't deal with the amount of memory that's required to run all of these screens and all of these things that I've got in front of me that you can't see, but the 2 screens and the 9 windows that all run independently. So yeah, it is kind of an investment. That's what I see it as. But then, yeah, if you're recording, it just depends how much money you've got, what you can spend on the computer, and yeah, just keep it as simple as you can. But anyway, we are going to be jumping into, let me have a look here, the super chat window. Orlando donated $2. Again, thank you for that. And the message is, I gave you a like on my other YouTube account with a thumbs up, so thank you for that. And oh, hang on, let me get rid of the live likes, because I need to, oh, hang on, what happened there? Did it disappear? Is it going to appear again? Okay, it's appeared again, and now it's disappeared. So we can get into the super chat window. I'm just going to scroll up because Orlando donated $5 again, which is before the last one, so thank you for that. I just missed it. And the message was, just before the live stream, I saw an Instagram video which highlighted tenor Luciano Pavarotti hitting the A4 vocal range. Hang on, it continues. Oh, what is going on this? I can't. Oh, and then it just says phenomenal. So thank you for that. And yeah, well, the A4 vocal range, the male tenor range, Pavarotti could hit the male tenor high C, which is what it's called. Even though typically when you look at the tenor range, it'll stop at A4. That's where you'll see it. And then, you know, maybe counter tenor range sometimes is referred to kind of higher than that when you start getting to, you know, C5, D5. But that male tenor high C is something that Pavarotti was known for, being able to hit that in chest voice. And I think male tenors, it is referred to as the holy grail, being able to hit that note in chest voice, because when you can get up to that kind of height and give it that body, it certainly does sound different, and it does sound amazing. So the A4, he absolutely would have had that down, because if you don't know, it goes A4, and then we go to the A sharp 4, and then we go to the B4, and then we go to the C5. So that's what I'm talking about. So when I say the A4, he'll definitely have that in his range and relatively comfortable, I think, considering that the C5 he could get up to there as well. But obviously, when you talk about Pavarotti, very impressive indeed. As I think we've done an analysis video in the past, but he just had one of those voices that was standalone, and this is it. It's just a lifetime of dedication that he just dedicated his life to his voice, basically. And that's what it was, just constant studying and constant practice, constantly working at it and building his voice, and that's how he got to, and that's something that can be said about a lot of classically trained singers, that it is really a lifetime pursuit of perfecting their voice, and the voice is the instrument. So you'll get instrumentalists who practice for multiple hours a day, and it's the same for great vocalists. That is their life pursuit. So but anyway, thank you for that. And Johnny Be Good has donated 20 Norwegian kroner, so thank you for that. And the message is, hey you, with the pear person putting on some sunglasses. So thank you for that. And the oh no, there's no message under that because it's another donation that's come through from Jennifer for $5. So thank you for that. And the message is, Phil, crazy question. Are the sound techs hired by the bands or the record producers? He who rules the mics rules. So thank you for that. Now, so here's where things differ. It depends. When you go to a venue, generally you will have sound guys that work for the venue. So when you are hiring out a venue, the sound guys are part of that, so they will be doing it, and the lighting guys will be part of that. So the team that are there are part of the cost of hiring that particular venue. So now when you start kind of getting, I guess, further up the ladder, and you're talking about very well-known artists, it can be the case, and is sometimes the case, that a particular artist want their sound team, their crew, to be on their shows. And when you're talking about kind of huge artists, then it's going to be the same team that are touring the world, because they're setting up the whole show, and the whole setup is part of that artist's tour. So and that'll go for like building the stage, and because if we're talking about playing in stadiums, there aren't just stages that are rolled out in stadiums that they've got behind the seats. You've got to set all of that up. So it's a huge undertaking for that tour. So when there are huge tours, the sound and the lighting and all of that, it's just going to be the same team that are going around the world doing that. But when you're talking about music venues that have maybe a few thousand seater venues, then they'll be having their sound team that are kind of working on that. But then that's what the sound check is for. If you're wanting a particular sound, and it might be the case that when I go back to the point that I made at the beginning of this, where there'll be some sound guys who say, I apply autotune to whoever's playing in my venue or the venue that I work for. It might be the case that in the sound check, a vocalist could say, I don't want you to put any autotune on my vocal. And then maybe the management of the band can make sure that it isn't applied to the singer's lead vocal. So it's very much to do with the sound check, and organising that with the sound guys, and just building a good relationship with them. That's the thing, because the sound guys, they're responsible for your sound. So yeah, you don't want to get on the wrong side of them, because yeah, they could make you sound really bad if they wanted to. So yeah, it's important to appreciate what the sound guys do, and yeah, just make sure that everything is addressed in the sound check, and just make it as straightforward as possible for them, and for yourself. And it's always a good idea to as an artist, have everything set up relatively quickly and just give the sound guys what they want, because generally they're going to be running through the drum kit and running through the snare and the hi-hat and the toms, and they're doing all their levels, and then they'll go to bass, and then they'll go to guitar. Like, say for example, they've done bass, they might have done acoustic guitar, and then they come to you for your guitar and vocal, whatever it might be, and you're not ready. That's going to be annoying for everybody involved. So make sure that you are organized, you're set up, and that when they say, right, rhythm guitar sound, you play your rhythm guitar sound. They go, okay, lead guitar sound, you play your lead guitar sound. Okay, vocal, and then you sing into the microphone. And yeah, just make sure that you're all ready to go. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for just keeping everything as smooth as possible, and keeping it a well-oiled machine, so that everything goes well for the show in the evening. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that, Jennifer. Elaine's donated $5, so thank you for that in the messages. Cover song, Picture Corner, Phil Jam, TikTok. So thank you for that. Yeah, been covering a lot today, and this is the other thing that because there's a lot going on at the moment, I might be a bit behind with messages kind of here, there and everywhere, so don't panic if I don't reply straight away to a message that you might have sent, because yeah, I'm still, I think, recovering from last Sunday, because I had a whole day of not doing the messages, answering emails and all that kind of stuff. So I'm still catching up with where I would normally be. I'm trying to fit in that extra day's work somewhere. So yeah, but I will get back on top of everything soon. Right, now let's jump into tonight's cover video, which is Lay It On The Line with 59% of the vote. I'll bring that to a close. So yeah, and then we'll get into Picture Corner after this. And then, have we hit the target tonight? We have for the Phil Jam 323 likes, so we'll jump into the Phil Jam after Picture Corner. Anyway, this is my version of Lay It On The Line, the Triumph Classic. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you after. Rock! And there we have it. That was my version of Lay It on the Line. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now we are going to be jumping into Picture Corner, and I've got to check how long this fill jam is going to be. It's going to be 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Oh, so we've still got time if we get through these relatively quickly, but there are a lot of pictures which I need to actually organise to get the messages with as well. So, right, let's jump into Picture Corner and we'll see if we can get through these. Now, the thing about Picture Corner is that my backing that I played on the guitar only runs for 4 minutes, so I've got to do this in 4 minutes if at all possible. So, right now, first of all, here we go. These, let me stop this echo from happening. This has been sent in from Liz, so thank you for this, Liz, and I believe there are 2 of these. There we go. And this is, the message is, still shots from rehearsal. Giselle, Taj's sister, is in keyboard. Phil is a natural. So thank you for that. And then we've got these set of pictures, which are from Leslie, and it says, he didn't really smile, but he knows how to pose with the guitar. Not too high, not too low, just right for his physique. So thank you for that. And yeah, the height of my guitar isn't anything to do with physique, it's just where I have it when I play guitar. So yeah, and in terms of kind of smiling again, or posing, there's not really any posing going on, it's just playing guitar. And I think I did smile quite a lot when I was playing, but maybe not during the kind of lead sections, because you're more listening to the music and attempting to kind of sing through the guitar a bit. Right now, this one from Connie and Dawn, where it just says that they pulled it from the internet. And oh, here we go, here's a really interesting one. So this is just my foot. This is from Amy saying, Phil's shoes were awesome, the shoes of a sharp dressed man. So yeah, there you go. And oh, this one's very artistic. Let me see if I can get to this message. Oh, it was Amy again, I think, and it says, I happen to pause the video and it landed on these 3 recognizable silhouettes. Phil mentioned the bright white lights shining on the band. There were certainly some behind them as well. So thank you for that. And we got this one, which is from Roseanne, and it says, from Taj's fan club Facebook page. Now, I did email, or actually Instagram message, the guy who took that photo, and he's called Phil as well, but spelled with a PH. But unfortunately, I hadn't received any reply to see if I can take one of these for my Instagram. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I just wanted to make sure that it was all okay, that if I took a picture of myself to use, but yeah, I didn't get a reply, so I'll have to wait and see on that. But thank you for that. And then we have this one. This comes from Angie, and the second one is Angie as well. And it says, the most wonderful night of my life, bar none, hearing great music and meeting Phil. So yeah, thank you for that. Right, oh, here we've got another one, and here we are with the main man, Howard, who I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream. So yes, Howard says, what a joy to be with Phil. And I don't know what we were laughing at this particular time, but probably getting ready to take a photograph, a picture, without actually being ready for a picture. So thank you for that. And then we've got this one. These are nameless ones. So we've got this one. Oh no, hang on, I went the wrong way. And we've got this one. I've got 13 seconds, 12 seconds before the music stops. This one, and then this one. And that's it. So let me stop that. Get rid of that. Out of my face. But thank you guys for sending in all of the pictures. And yeah, we just about made it. with the backing music. I can't hear the backing music, but I know that it stops. And then that kind of thing happens. The whole screen cancels itself. And then it's just me with the pictures in front of my face. Right now, we are going to be jumping into tonight's Phil Jam number 324. And let me click on this. Oh, hang on. Is it the right one? Hang on. Let me click on the link. Probably going to hear an advert. Yes, it is an advert. Let me mute that. Okay, so this is Sweet Expressive Guitar Backing Track in E. And it's from YT Jam Tracks, and that's YT for YouTube in capital letters. So, right, let's... I was going to say, where is the red dude? There he is. I couldn't find this little controller thing. Right, let's click on that. Now, I'm listening to this through a laptop, so it might be really rubbish, but let's have a go, see what happens. I can hear it, which is good. Oh, mic on. That would have been rubbish. Rose says, that's the same guitar. Yes, indeed, this is the same guitar I was playing last week. I'm trying to see if this is coming through. Can you hear this? The mic is on. We should be fine. It sounds like that is going to be the end. And that was indeed the end. So, there we go. Should have maybe changed to the neck pickup a little bit earlier than I did. But it is. Because, yeah, then the Fender starts to shine. But anyway, that was Sweet Expressive Guitar, backing track in E. And that is YT Jam Tracks. And YT in capital letters, if you guys want to check that out independently. So yeah, that was only about 5 minutes in length. So by the time I had changed over and moved over to the neck pickup, it was too late. So there we go. We are going to be calling things to a close now. So I'm going to be here with another video tomorrow night. So look out for that one, because yeah, that's going to be another interesting one. It's something that I can't really believe has been released, but you can listen to that tomorrow night where I'll be dissecting it, jumping into things. I'm going to be here with a live stream on Tuesday night, of course, so if you can make it then, that would be very much appreciated, where we want to hit another likes goal to then bust out the guitar again and have a field jam. But all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Rock!